Record right now. So recording is starting, and we're going to start with today. We're going to talk about Revit. Now, Revit, I just got done teaching today Revit. I basically on Thursdays, it kind of runs into a situation where I have to do kind of like back-to-back training, which I'm doing right now. I taught all day. Not unfortunately, it's a good thing. I like it. So I trained all day today, and I'm going to train you guys again on Revit. So I am warmed up. I'm warmed up, ready to go. So here's the thing. Revit is an application that is actually using a technology called BIM. BIM stands for Building Information Modeling. That's what that stands for. So now that I've kind of introduced that, what does that all mean? Let me show you what it means. I'm going to go ahead and open up a PowerPoint here. And the PowerPoint, I'm going to go ahead and go to here. I'm going to share this so you guys can see it. Looks like this here. And can you guys see the PowerPoint right now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So Autodesk Revit 2021 Fundamentals for Architecture. Let's get into this. We'll talk about it. So if you get into this right now, what we're going to do right now is we're going to talk about what it is. Okay, so we've learned AutoCAD, and now we're going to talk about what the difference is. So we're going to talk about the concept and workflow of building information modeling in relation to the Autodesk Revit software. And I'm going to contrast it to AutoCAD, okay, because you guys have some introduction to AutoCAD, and you understand how things kind of go together. You understand what construction documents are. You understand what it means to have a floor plan, and you understand what it means to have elevations, and you understand what it means to have a foundation plan, and you understand what it means to have wall sections. You understand all those things. And each one of those is unrelated. So let me ask this question. Let me sure you guys are paying attention here. Okay, out of all the drawings you have, if you decided to make a change in the floor plan, would it automatically show up in any of your other plans?
It would X-reference it.
Very good. Not unless you X-reference it. Who said that?
Shane?
Yeah, Shane, you're right. Totally. And so the thing is, if you certainly reference it, then yes, it would. Other than that, no. Why? Because they're not connected. The way AutoCAD works is the same way the same way manual drafting worked for years. And I don't think we probably have anybody in this class that's done manual drafting. But manual drafting is an ancient art that went out of that stopped being used heavily about 30 years ago. People stopped doing manual drafting about 30 years ago and went to CAD. But the way it worked was like this. You'd have a sheet, and then you would draw what you needed on that sheet, and then you would go ahead and make each sheet that would relate to it. So you'd make a floor plan. And once you had the floor plan together, you would make any kind of details that had to be part of that. You'd make the foundation plan, the elevations, the sections, and you put all this together. And it was a great deal of work. However, each sheet was standalone, meaning this, that if you made a change on a wall on the first floor, that means you'd have to go into every other drawing that referenced that and make that change there as well. That's everything. So this could mean, and when I was working back in Detroit, I was working at this major hospital. It's the largest single campus hospital in the country. It's called Beaumont. And when I was working there at Beaumont, one of the things about that is we were doing a massive building expansion. It was so large, it was the largest architectural project, the largest building project that was actually being done in the state of Michigan for like 4 or 5 years in a row. And so we had that going on. So that is something that we had, and that's what I was part of. So the bid pack that we got, or actually I should say the construction documents, what I mean the stack of blueprints. The stack of blueprints we got, which back then actually still smelled like blueprints, like aluminum, like ammonia. They actually smell like ammonia. Have any of you guys ever smelled real blueprints and they actually smell like ammonia? Anyone ever seen that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of a beautiful thing. But it's still
have them.
Yeah, what's that now?
We still have them. We use them actually as the VA because we still have underground services
Yeah.
that were put back in 1960.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Does it still smell like ammonia?
Yeah, it's actually in the room that it's in. If it's not cool, it's horrible.
Yeah, they have a pretty strong smell, and the thing is for sure. So that's how you know that they were done in the old school method. Okay, now things are pretty much done, printed on a CAD plotter or something else, and they're done that way. That's kind of how they're done now. Anyway, that being neither here nor there, but that's something just to realize that you had. So that's how things were done back in the day. But now things are very different. Okay, what you do now is with BIM, it's a different procedure. So let's go ahead and get into this discussion. First of all, I do not have the ability to show you a webcam tonight because I'm not using my webcam because I think that's why my machines were crapping out on me. I think it was just too much graphics. And anyway, I don't think Zoom can handle it very well. So anyway, that's what we're looking at right now. So looking at this right now and looking at my particular screen, you've got a depiction of a building, and it's the building is shown to us in 3D. And so what this would be is if I were to go ahead and make that particular, draw that particular item in CAD, anytime I make a change, I would have to update the other sheets. But in this particular case, in Revit, what you do is you make one central model. You make one central model. And when you make that one central model, from there, you just basically look at it in different ways. So that means you just kind of like virtually slice it to get a floor plan view. You would slice it from top to bottom to get your sections, and you look at it from the sides to get your elevations. So that is, you know, pretty much how that works. Think of it like this. If you had a Lego model, I assume some of you guys have played with Lego over the years. I know I sure enjoyed it when I was a kid, and my kids have enjoyed it too. But if you had a Lego model, it'd be the same kind of a thing. If you had a Lego model, like the building that we see right there, if you pulled the roof off, that would actually give you the floor plan. You could look down and get the floor plan. If you were just to rotate it in one direction, you could see it. If you kind of pulled it apart along its center, you could actually get a section view. So think of it in those terms. That's what you're making. You're making a virtual Lego model is what you're doing right here. This slide right here explains what the particular workflow is, okay? And this is an important thing to get your head around. Over here, this is how things used to be done. Actually, this is how things are done in CAD still. So when we worked with AutoCAD, we went ahead and did this. And when we did this, we made floor plans, okay? We made foundation plans, okay? And we did these other plans right here. When we did those, they produced our understanding of what the actual project would be. And then from there, we actually created sections and elevations. We did all that. And all of those put together allowed us to make construction documents. That's what we're talking about there. So that's what we have right there. That's what we go ahead and do on this way. That's traditional document. But in BIM, you do things very differently. BIM is this over here. BIM means you just simply build a model. You build the model once, and then you have a bi-directional, meaning two-way. You have a two-way street between these different disciplines. So as you go through these right here, you're able to go through and get any of the information out of here just by asking it to show you a different view. That is the advantage of doing BIM, of doing building information modeling, of doing Revit. And when you get done with this, you guys, you're going to be very glad you did, because you're going to have a tool that is very useful to you for other purposes besides just what you do for this class. So then getting into this, there's a few terms we want to get under our belt, and that is that when you're working with Revit, you've got some different elements. Okay, one of the things I want to point out right now is when you're working with Revit, everything that you create is known as a family. Okay, that means like this. There are families of walls, okay? And there's families of doors, and there's families of windows. Okay, now here's why they're called families, because it goes like this. If I have a family of interior doors, that means that I have all these interior doors, and every one of them would have in common that they are an interior door. However, they might be metal, they might be wood. They might be 36 inches wide, they might be 30 inches wide. And each one of them would be a door, and they would be part of the door family, the interior door family, but they're each distinct. And that's how it is in a normal family, where all of you are together. You're all one particular family, but you all look different. You have a different function, but there is a commonality because you're all related. That's the way Revit looks at walls, doors, windows, everything. They're all families. And so once you have that, if you have a wall and you draw a wall in Revit, Revit knows it's a wall. That's what it means by building information modeling. There's an intelligence in everything you draw. The intelligence allows you then to do actual architectural design, and the actual elements will understand that they are what you're saying they are. Meaning this, if I were to go ahead and put in walls into my particular project, and I put them in there, well, each wall consists of different materials, okay? Meaning this, let me ask you guys this question right here. If I'm in a house right now, I'm in a residential building right now. Let me ask you this. What would be the material that would be on the inside facing me in most houses? What would that material be?
Drywall.
It'd be drywall, right. And then after the drywall, what would be the next thing going out towards the outside?
Studs.
It'd be a stud, right? And then the next thing you would have on the outside, what would you have next?
Sheathing.
You'd have sheathing, and you might at that point have a vapor barrier. And then on that sheathing, you would probably have siding, or you might have a gap and then have brick. All right. So those layers are all part of a real wall in real life. And guess what? They are in Revit too. So when you draw a wall in Revit with a brick wall, it is going to know that that's what it is. So when you draw that, what will happen is once you've drawn your structure, it will then be able to give you a calculation as far as how many bricks you would need. It will give you a calculation as far as how many square feet of gypsum drywall you would need. It would also give you a listing, a schedule of what kind of how much sheathing you would need. So all these are possibly taken out of a Revit project. It's very cool. It's very, very cool. So that's one thing you're going to get into as you get to see this right now. So you got annotation, you got your data, you got your standalone components. These are all things that those terms won't mean much, but they'll mean a little bit later. So when you have, I will say this much right here. So what you've got right here is it talks about a hosted component and a host. So the host would be a wall. Your hosted component would be a window or a door. They're hosted. In other words, a wall holds them. So for you to have a door or a window in your project, they have to go in a wall. Okay, next thing that you got is Revit will produce construction documents, meaning sheets that you print up and then you would give to a customer. So this is what you have right here. You got Revit and construction documents, and you get a sheet, you get a view, and you get a title block. And these are different elements that would go inside there, seamlessly put together when you're working with Revit. It goes really, really well. It's really quite awesome as far as how it puts together construction documents. Now here's the next thing. Review of the interface. Let's go ahead and go through this. I want to kind of make sure we're clear on this. The interface. Okay, we're going to go through these elements right here, and I want to make sure you guys are clear on this. So, do you guys have is Revit done installing yet, you guys?
Took a while, but yeah.
Only for Windows.
Okay, was that a yes there?
The Revit's only for Windows.
Revit doesn't like Windows?
No, it's the download is only for Windows.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Revit will only work in Windows. That's correct. You cannot use it. Okay, you've only got a Mac?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's going to be problematic. Who's that right there?
Omar.
Was that Omar, did you say?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, yeah, that's going to be a problem. So that is something that, as far as getting a Windows machine, that is something that you can get actually. You can actually talk to the school. The school can get you a machine, a Windows machine that will run that. I was not under the impression any of you guys were not running a Windows machine. So yeah, that's something you'll definitely need to have. You could also connect remotely into the machines they have at the school. So there's a couple things you can do right here. And so that's something we'll have to deal with later. But for right now, I'm going to assume that we're all where we should be, because you're definitely going to need a Windows machine to run Revit. Okay, so getting into this right now, what we're going to do now is getting into this. We are going to get into Revit. So if you have Revit, go ahead and open it. You want to open up Revit. Now, when you open up Revit, you're going to see a screen that looks very much like this, except you won't have the same number of recent files right here. Okay, you don't necessarily need all these. Well, that's just going to show up what the most recent ones are. So you see these right here. So you're going to notice that down here at the let me go ahead and find this and see. Okay, over here you got a sample architectural project. Yours will probably be somewhere else, but it says sample architecture project. It's got a building with a red roof. Double click on that. And let me ask you if any of you guys, if that's opening for you guys. Let me know if it opens up and if it looks like my screen when you do that.
I got it.
Okay.
I got it.
That's cool.
Okay, very good. Give you guys a minute. Okay, is that it? Just two? And does anyone else have it? You guys are gonna make life tough on me here. Okay. You're actually gonna make it tougher on yourselves, but it's gonna be the same for me either way. But I like to teach to people that can actually do the work. But okay, very good. So you guys, most of you don't have Revit, it looks like. Okay, that's kind of problematic. Okay, let me ask who's got this running and who doesn't. Okay, Kelly, do you have that running right now?
Yeah, it's just really slow on my computer, so I might need another hard drive.
Okay, all right, yep, that could be. Revit is a bit of a system hog. All right, Dimitri is not here. Julius, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Did you have that installed yet?
Yeah, I have to restart my computer, so.
Okay. All right, Shanna, do you have that?
Yeah, I have it.
Okay, great. All right, Alex Groff, do you have that?
Yep, I got it.
Perfect, okay. All right, Nathan Henry, do you have it?
Not quite yet. It's almost there.
Okay, you're getting there. Okay, Shane, you're on your cell phone, so you'll get that later, I assume. Okay, and Omar, you said that you're the you got to do something because you got a Mac. Okay.
Right.
Okay, very good. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to teach this, and we'll just to show you the basics as far as how Revit works, and we'll even start to do a little bit of drawing tonight. So let me show you what's going on here. First of all, let me talk about what we're looking at here. So first of all, there are some things in here that are similar to AutoCAD and some things that are not. What we're looking at right now is a title sheet, and you can look at many different things in Revit. So the way you would do this, the way you would actually navigate through your project is actually by doing, okay, let's see, we got, okay, that's different. Let me go back to here. It looks like, let me go back to here. Okay, are you guys still seeing Revit right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so what I want to do right here is I want to show you something here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this down here. This is called your project browser. Can you guys see my little red highlight there? Is that a yes?
Yep.
Okay, great. Okay, what that is right there, that is showing you where the project browser is. This is the means by which we are able to maneuver through the particular project. Very important that you always have that on right there. So that's something that we have right there, so we're going to go ahead and understand that. Now, the next thing you're going to see is you have a couple floor plans under here. You also have 3D views and elevations, a lot of things here. So let's just explore it. Let's see what's going on here. Let's double click on level 1 here. And when you double click on level 1, this is what you see. As you look in this right now, you're seeing a floor plan, and it's giving you some basic information. It's color coded, shows you some things about this right here, and so that's helpful. Now, you can zoom in and out the same way you do in AutoCAD. You can just basically put your cursor here and roll your mouse forward, and it's going to zoom in. You roll your mouse out, it's going to zoom out. If so, you roll your mouse away from you, and it's going to zoom in. You roll your mouse away, it's going to do that. And then if you hold the button down, the wheel rather, that allows you to pan it. So the same rules that applied to AutoCAD apply to here. So that's the first floor right here. And so now that we see that, we say, okay, I see what we got right there. You got a first floor, that's cool. Okay, so what else can we do here? Well, let's take a look at how this actually starts to work. Let's go ahead and we're going to zoom in, down here. Let's zoom in down here to the deck. Going to zoom in down here to the deck. Going to roll our cursor down there and find the deck. And then hover your cursor over one of the doors. And when you hover your cursor over one of the doors, it says doors, curtain wall, double glass. So it tells you what kind of door it is. So that's the intelligence that I'm talking about. This is not just a just like some lines like in AutoCAD. It actually has intelligence. I'll hover that one more time. So I hover that over there. It tells me it's doors, curtain wall, and it knows the size they are. And they have a tag. The tag is part of this whole process. So we have that going on right there. So that's what we have going on. That's how we go ahead and start that. So this is just to show you how a few things work here. So now we understand what the project browser is. I want to show you something else here, okay? What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back down to one of these doors, and I'm going to click on it. I'm going to click on 106A. Now, when I click on 106A, I want to show you something else. This is something else that's actually of importance, and that is up here. I want to point out this, and that is the fact that up here you have what are called your properties. Your properties are actually what allow you to see what the particular elements are and the particular characteristics are of what you picked. In this case, it's a curtain wall double glass, and then it goes on and tells you some other things. It tells you the dimensions and the height. In this case, that's all in metric. So that's all in metric values. So we have that going on right here. So this is a metric values house, like this would maybe up in Canada. And we have this right here, we have the dimensions and the height. So we have that going on. And that's how we go ahead and begin to change it. And then you can actually go in and change it to actually make curtain walls of double sizes, doors of double sizes, windows of double sizes. But we'll get to that as we move along here. So that's great. So now when you see that, these are the two main things. Properties and browser are two of the big things that really make Revit what it is. Now I'm going to go ahead and zoom out back here again. And as I get into this right now, I'm going to talk about a few other things. And I'm going to talk about the quick access toolbar. The quick access toolbar is the same kind of thing that you have in AutoCAD. We went over this before, and the quick access toolbar is actually up here. It's at the very top. And actually, some of the icons are the same that you have in AutoCAD. That's your quick access toolbar. I kind of scribble all over the top of it. And that's actually what allows you to access certain commands. And going on here, if we take a look at that, you'll notice that you've got the ability to use open, new, and print. And some of these things are very common that we've already seen. Some of them are not. Okay, so these are all things that are quick access. And you can put any tool up here that you might want to. So this is something that you have right there. That's your quick access toolbar. The next thing is your status bar, which is actually down here. Status bar is actually down here at the bottom of your screen. Down here it says walls, basic wall, wall timber clad. That's your status bar. So that's going to actually tell you information about what you're doing right now. If you're in command, it'll actually give you information about that. Over here you've got the your file tabs. Like right here I've got A001 title sheet and level 1. I can click between these and see the information. So this lets you go from sheet to sheet to see how that works. And that's how we go ahead and put that in. And so that's what we have there. And then the next thing we have at the top is your ribbon. Your ribbon is the method by which you're going to be doing your different work in Revit. Okay, so you got that. So you got that, you got wall, door, window, all these different things up here. So there's a lot of content here. We're going to be spending most of our time on this architecture palette. That's what our ribbon has. And so we have this is where we put the different elements in there. When you're creating something, you're going to be given a lot of options to draw it, and so we'll see how that works. And let's see here. So that kind of gets over there. And then let's see here. Then we have our tabs. You've got tabs at the top here. And then down here at the bottom part of your screen, you've got something which is called, if I can find this, hopefully I can. Okay, down here. And what I've got down here is my view control bar. My view control bar down here is what allows me to change the visualization of a particular item. So I can see it and I understand what it's looking like. So I can actually change the level of detail. I can do a lot of different things here. So that's my view control bar. That's something that I will be referencing as we go on throughout here and seeing how that works. So we have that going on there. So these are all different things right here. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to see how we would actually go about starting a project and how we begin to start drawing it. Okay, this is actually kind of cool as we get into this right now. So we're just going to do a little bit of kind of random scribbling. So let's go ahead and we're going to close out of this. We're going to go up here to File. We're going to click on File and go to Close. And that will close out this project. File and Close. And we don't want to do anything else there. So that's what we've got going on so far. So let's see here. So let's see here. Alex, do you have that? Is that installed now?
Yeah, mine was installed.
What was that?
Yep, mine's installed.
Okay, great. Okay, good. And we're going to go ahead and move on to the next thing here. So starting new projects. We're going to start a new project here. So what we're going to do right now is to show you how to do this. And this is, again, going to be available to you going through your, If you don't have this right now, this is going to be available to you, so I'm going to have to walk through here. So over here at the far left, you've got the models. You can actually open a model and make a new one, or families. We don't want to make a family. We want to go here to where it says models and go to new. So you click on new. Now when you click on new, it's going to give you some different choices. Now the default template is the Imperial Construction template. We don't want that. That's going to be a bit too much. So we're going to change this to be something different. I'm going to go ahead and click here. I'm going to go to Imperial Architectural. This just makes it simpler. It's a simpler template. So I'm going to change the template to Imperial Architectural. So you do that. And then at this point, we're going to create a new project. So we click on OK. So when you click on OK, it brings us into here. Tell me, by the way, if any of you are, if I'm going too fast, if your machine's dragging, and let me know if that's happening. And I can slow down a little bit. On that, I'm just going to kind of carry on, assuming that you're keeping up. So tell me if that's not the case. Okay, so now moving on to here, we now have the basic Revit workspace right now. So what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and we are going to make we're going to start to make a structure here. So let's do this. So to do this, we go up here and we start to make a wall. Right up here you see wall. Now wall is to Revit as lines are to AutoCAD. So we're going to click on wall. Now when we click on wall, I'm going to ask you guys a question here. I'm going to go over here, just make sure you guys are seeing what I'm doing here. And I'm going to go ahead and highlight this, if I can come on you. Okay, go to here. And what I'm going to do is over here under properties. What is the default wall right here? What's the default wall?
8-inch wall.
Yeah, it's a basic wall, generic 8 inches. Okay, so that's it right there. So now that we have that right there, what we can do is you can actually, if you click on this little triangle that faces down, you'll see that there's a lot of other types in there. Okay, there's exterior brick and CMU. That's CMU means a concrete masonry unit. So that would mean essentially a block and brick wall. You've got exterior brick on CMU. You've got a lot of exteriors, and you have interiors. Okay. They're not labeled, I don't think interior, yeah, you do have some interior that are partitions, but you've got your different interior walls and so forth. So you have those. And so we're just going to continue to use generic. So we can just, leave it on generic. Now at this point right now, we can just start to click and draw anything we want. Before we do, let me point out that there's different ways to draw. So what are those different ways? Well, I'll tell you. Going back to here, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to go back here. Okay, are you guys still seeing Revit right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go to here, and what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you something here, and that is up here I actually have a choice. Okay, by default you can see that a line is the default right now. So I can go ahead and just use my line option of the wall command and begin to draw it. And as I begin to draw it, it's going to tell me something else here. Here it's telling me the height. How high is this wall going to be?
20 feet.
Yeah, it's going to be 20 feet. It's going to be 20 feet, it's unconnected, and it's going to let me go ahead and start to draw this. This is where this gets kind of cool. Now, the next thing I want to ask you to kind of decode as we go along here is it has a location line right here. And if you can see that, it tells us it's the wall center line, and it's also set up to be a chain connection, meaning these are all going to be connected, kind of like a polyline. So we have all that going on here. So those are some of the basics, and those are things you're going to want to pay attention to. So with the line option right here, and you could use other options, this is just going to be the basic line option. I'm just going to do this. I'm going to go and click here. I'm going to click, and I'm going to drag my cursor up. Now you'll notice that as I begin to drag it up, it lets me pick how far I want to go, okay? So I'm just going to go up and down here, and you can see I can pick anywhere I want. I'm just going to go ahead and pull it up, and I'm going to make it 30 feet. So I'm going to click at 30 feet. All right, so I've got that. I'm going to pull it over this way, and I'm going to pull it over till it says 30 feet. I'm going to pull this one down till it says 30 feet, and you'll notice that as I do this, you see a little dashed blue line. That means I'm lined up with the other wall. Okay, so if I want to use that, I click again, and then I click one last time. So once I do that, it creates this. Now to finish my command, I can do it one of two ways. I can either hit my escape key or click on the modify button. The modify button is here at the upper left. That's going to end it. When you click on modify, it kind of puts Revit in idle. So your engine's still running, but it's idling right now. So it's just kind of ready for you to do the next thing. So I'm going to zoom into this. Now I'm going to show you something that's actually really cool here. And for those of you that are into this, I think you're going to become, I'm going to make geeks out of you. All right, but up here, you've got this right here. You've actually got this little house up here. That controls your 3D visibility. Now watch what I'm going to do right here. What I'm going to do right here is I'm going to click on this, and when I click on it, it's going to go ahead and go into 3D. Boom, I'm in 3D. So that's what I've created so far. That's a 3D view, and those little walls that I made there have now made this cube, okay? So that is, again, that's the 3D feature right up there. So this is how we go ahead and start doing this. Now, you may say, well, how do I get back to where I was? Well, you go to level 1. You got your tabs right here. So what I do right there is I go back to my tabs, I click on level 1, and I'm back to where I started from. So I'm right back to here. So what I've got going on right here is I have this drawn right now, and I've got a basic, structure right there. Let me just stop and ask, have any of you drawn this?
Yeah.
Okay. I got one. Anyone else?
Yep, I drew.
Okay, got a couple. Okay, good. All right, so now that I have that, let's say I wanted to put in a door. Let's say I want to put a door in the structure, okay? I could do that, and it'd be really easy to do. So to do this, I would go up here, and you'll see up here, I've got doors. I got doors which are up here, and I go ahead and click on the door. So when I click on the door, you'll notice that I've got a default door. What's the size of my default door?
.36" by 84".
Yeah, 36 inches by 84 inches. That means it's 3 feet by 7 feet. Let me ask you another question. I'm going to test your residential skills right here. Is 84 inches, is 7 feet, is that normal for a residential house?
No.
No. Who knows what would be normal?
82.
82. 82 would be more normal. And sometimes it's 80. But 82 is out there. And so you got 36 by 84, and you got this. So that would be more of a commercial application. So I'm going to change it. Since this is going to be kind of a residential house, I'm going to click here. When I click there, you'll notice I got 36 by 80 inches right there. You see that? 36 by 80 inches. And so I clicked on this little arrow here, and it gave me some choices. I'll choose 36 by 80. Now watch, this is where the magic happens. Right now, before I do anything, you'll notice that I'm getting a symbol. It's the universal no, not allowed symbol. It's a circle with a slasher, meaning you can't do this. Well, you might get discouraged by this, but here's the thing. I talked before about hosted elements. Watch what happens when it gets over a wall. Hey, look at that. So once you drag it over a wall, the door magically appears, okay? So again, now, okay, so you don't see it now. Now you do see it. Okay, so if I pull this door up here, I can go ahead and just, you'll notice I can pick a dimension too. So I'm gonna click on it. So when I click there, it dropped it in place right there. And so now I have this here. Now look at the little controls on it. I've got some controls on it. Highly technical terms, but those are the controls that will actually control the door swing. So I can flip it from side to side like this, okay? And then I can also change the door swing direction, whether it's going into the structure or outside the structure. Okay, so you've got that going on right there. And that is how that would actually work. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and let it swing on the outside here. So it's actually coming in like that. So we have that. And let me just do a quick check right here, see if there's anything I need to do. Let me see if I've got to deal with anything here. I'll show you my mail. I don't want you guys to see my mail. Actually, I don't know if you guys would be able to see that. Let me go back to here and I maybe, yeah, okay, can you guys see Blackboard right now?
No.
No, okay, good. Okay, over here, and let me check this. And let me check my inbox, make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, looks like somebody else has just joined. I just got something that said somebody else has joined right here. Okay, maybe, I don't know what that was. Yeah, I don't see why that even came up. Let's see why that came up. Why did I do that? I don't know. Just told me something's going on and nothing's going on. Okay, very good. We will continue on and we will move on. Okay, so back over to here where we were. So back over into Revit. Can you guys still see Revit right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I did right here is, let's say I wanted to move this door, okay? Let's go ahead and, let me go ahead and, no, hit your escape key. You're still in Revit. Hit your escape key so that nothing's selected, and then click on the door. And when you click on the door, you're gonna notice something. You're gonna see these dimensions. The dimensions show up, and these are called temporary dimensions, and they are very powerful because what they can allow you to do is actually change what the distance is for this door's placement. So right now it says 4'6". You see this right here? It says 4'6". I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to change the 3 for 3 feet. Watch what happens. I change the 3 for 3 feet. I hit my enter key, and it moves the door. I don't have to do any measuring. I just override it with the dimension. That is very cool. That's worth the price of admission right there. That's what temporary dimensions do. And the walls work the same way. You're going to notice that this distance is actually not from the exterior face, but it's from the center line, because that's how the walls were created. You can change that, but that's how that works right now. So that's how we actually have that in place right there. So we have that going. And I hit my escape key. So when I hit my escape key, we're back out to here, and now we see, okay, that was how I go ahead and place a door. How about a window? Well, your windows are right up here. You've got wall, you got door, and you got window. I'm going to click on window. Now, when I go to window, you'll see I've got fixed 36 by 48, and then we'll see what else is available here. I've got a few different things here. I've got a double hung down here, a window double hung. I'm going to choose, just to do something a little bit different, I'm going to choose 30 by 46. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the window, now again, same thing, the universal not allowed symbol here, but I can go ahead and take it and I can place it right along here. And I can go ahead and drop it right on the wall, and I can go ahead and drop one here, and drop one here, and drop one here, just to give myself some stuff to work with. Okay, so once I've got that in place, I'll hit my escape key. What do I do there? Well, I put in some windows. So let's see how this looks now. So to do this right now, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to take a look at my 3D view. Again, I go up to here, default 3D view. I can also get it right here. So I can look at the 3D view and look at it right there. So right now, taking a look at this right now, that's looking pretty good. Okay, I've got some things here. The only thing I would say is if this was a ranch house, I would say the walls are a little too long. Would you guys agree with that?
I like it.
Vaulted
Right.
ceilings. Perfect.
Okay, it's perfect. Okay, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on one of these walls, and you'll notice that when I click on that wall, I have some handles, and I can actually change its height over here. I can change it over here. So I can go ahead and do this. I could do it one at a time, or I could do all of them together. So to do them all together, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on here. Actually, I'm going to hover my cursor here and hit my tab key. When I hit my tab key, they all get selected. That saves me the time of having to go through them all together. I'll do that one more time. Hover my cursor and I hit my tab key. When I hit the tab key, they're all selected, then I click. And when I click, I can then change them all to having a different height. Right now, instead of having a 20-foot height, I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to go ahead and say 10 for 10 feet and hit my enter key. And when I do that, I can click on apply, and now we have something a little bit more like that. So that is how we'd actually go about changing some of these things and making these things begin to work in our favor so we can see some things there. So now I'm going to show you something else here. You may be saying, okay, that's kind of boring. Tom, I thought Revit was really cool, but this isn't very cool. Well, I'm going to show you something that you might like. Okay, down here, you have the ability to actually change how realistic this thing looks. Down here, you see this cube. The cube actually allows you to click on here, and there's different visual styles. Right now, we are in hidden line, but you can choose shaded. And when you choose shaded, it gives you this kind of look like that. That's shaded. If I click on this right here, I can actually change the consistent colors, gives you that kind of look. Or I can click on it and choose realistic. And realistic is going to give me kind of a low-level rendering right there. And when you do that, you actually see that you actually have kind of like a wood grain on the windows right there and a wood grain on the door. So that's kind of cool, okay? So you can do a lot of things here. I'm going to keep it simple and keep it shaded like that. That shows me basically how that all works. So that's what I've got going on there. Okay, and I'm just going to go for a couple more minutes, and then we'll take a break, and then I'm going to show you guys some other things just to get you guys started here. Because your first project is just going to be doing kind of a random house in Revit. So I'm going to give you the basics right here. So now that we've got that and we know how to do that, I'm going to show you how to put in a roof. I'm going to show you how to put in a roof. So to do a roof, you go to level 1, back to level 1. And what I'm going to do is to put in a roof, I'm going to go up here. Roof tool is right up here. And I'm going to use roof by footprint. So I click on roof by footprint, and it says, you have created the roof on the lowest level. Would you like to move it to level 2? Well, typically when it does that, it's just keeping you from making a bad mistake. And yes, you do want to do that. You want to be on level 2. So now, when I get into this right now, I can create a, I can actually pick my walls right here. This allows me right here, this tool right here, allows me to pick the walls, and that allows me to sketch lines based upon those. So I can do that. And you're going to notice there's something else here that's actually very useful. And that is this right here. I could actually change the overhang. All right. What would be a kind of an average, what would be a good overhang, you think, for a little ranch like this, 30-foot by 30-foot ranch? What would be kind of a standard overhang?
8-inch.
8 inch, you think? Okay. 8 inches it could be. Or we could make it a foot just to make it easy. So let's just make it a foot, but 8 inches would work too. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to clear this. I'm going to make it a foot. So I'm going to go here and make it 1. And you only have to type in 1, by the way. Revit is going to recognize feet. So I'm going to make it 1. I'm going to do that. So I make it 1, and I hit my enter key. Now at this point, I'm going to pick walls. Now watch this. As I hover my cursor over the wall, you'll see that the dashed line is going above it. What do you suppose that represents?
The overhang.
That's the overhang. So I'm going to click here, and it gives me a purple line. I'm going to go over here, gives me a purple line. Go over here, gives me a purple line. And over here gives me a purple line. So once I've done all that, it's all together. Now, I'm going to just show you one thing that's happening right here, is you see this little angle marker right here. That's telling you right now that that actually has an angle as part of it. That means this, all of the angles of this roof will have an angle, okay? So I don't necessarily want that, but let's just see what it looks like first of all. So to complete this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here, I'm going to click on this green check mark, because I'm right now in this modify create roof footprints. Whenever you see this kind of a mint green background, that means Revit is in the middle of creating something, and you have to tell it you want to stop. Either A, you want to hit the X that aborts the mission, or you hit the green check mark, which means you like it. So I hit the green check mark, and then it says, would you like to attach the highlighted walls to the roof? And we'll say, yeah, go ahead and do that. We'll attach them. So let's see what it looks like. We'll go back to our 3D view, and hey, look at that. Okay, so we got a roof, and that's kind of an ugly hip roof. They don't really make them that way too much. That's right there, but anyway, we can fix it really easily. So to fix it, we go back, and we can go back to level 1. You can't see it in this view. Why can't you see it at level 1? Why do you suppose you can't see it at level 1?
Because it's level 1.
Mm-hmm. And level 1 is too low. So what we're going to do is we're going to go here to level 2. Level 2 is over here. We double click on it. Hey, now you see the roof, okay? So what we're going to do is I'm going to choose the roof. Okay, choose the roof right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put in a roof that's actually a little bit more normal, okay? So what I would do right here is I want to remove right here the angles on at least 2 of the sides. So I'm going to edit the footprint. So I'm going to go ahead and over here on this side, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to, let's see here. I'm going to remove this one. I'm going to remove the front one. I'm going to go ahead and remove this, this little angle marker right here. It says define slope. I'm going to click on that. Let me do that. No, it won't. So I'm going to go ahead and go up here, and I can uncheck it here. It says define slope. I'm going to go there and uncheck it so it doesn't define slope, and do the same for the back. So that doesn't define a slope either. So I'm going to uncheck those so they don't define a slope. And then I'm going to hit my green check mark. And then I'm going to take, and then my roof is still on here as a 9 by 12 roof pitch. That's pretty steep. So I'm going to change that to make it a 4 by 12 roof pitch. A little bit more kosher. I'm going to apply it. And then once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at it 3D again. And look at that. A little more reasonable. That's actually something that you could actually say, okay, I've got the beginnings of a very basic structure, and that's how I go ahead and start to do it. Now it's very plain, but what you got right there is that quickly you built a house, and everything in it knows that it's a house. Okay, so that's what we're going to park it right now. We're going to take just a couple minutes, and we'll come back. So at 6:55, let's take 5 minutes. I'm going to save this, and we'll come back to it. That'll give some of you guys a chance to finish off your work, and I'm going to save this as let's see here, save it as. File save as, I'm going to save it to my desktop, and I'll save it as a project, and I'm going to call it, on my desktop, I'm going to call it Practice House. There we go, Practice House, like that. And we will get back to this in a minute. So we'll continue our thrilling excursion into Revit. So let's go ahead and take about 5 minutes, we'll come back, and I will see you guys then. Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, very good. Okay, what we're gonna do right now is we are going to just go a little bit further, and because I think some of you guys don't have Revit yet, and I don't want to push it too far, I just want to give you some basics right now. So let me go back here, let me kind of back up a couple steps here and explain some of the things we're gonna do here. And then I'm going to supply you guys with the project that you guys are gonna work on. And this is gonna be a little bit different. I was gonna be doing something different today, but I want you guys to be able to hand something in. I want you guys to be able to submit something, which I will place. I'll give you guys a place to submit it, but right now it's not there on Blackboard yet. So what we did here, I'm going to go back to my level 1, and when you go back to level 1, this shows us what this looks like. Now, here I'm going to ask you guys a question right now. Let's say that I was working with a customer on this, and they said, "Man, this is entirely too small. I need to have it larger. I need this to be a larger structure." Okay. Well, I can go ahead and click on this wall here. When I click on that wall, you notice up here, it tells me 30 feet. Well, what I can do right here is with my temporary dimensions, is I can change that. So I'm gonna click up there and I can go ahead and make it 40 feet and watch what happens. It goes ahead and makes it 40 feet. So now it's a longer structure, okay? So let's take a look and see what that did. What did that do? Well, guess what? The roof was intelligent enough to follow it. The roof went ahead and did that. Why? Because it's all integrated. It's parametrically involved. The relationships between the different elements are actually part of the software. So we actually have that going on right there. So we have these basic elements. We have walls, we have doors, we have walls, we have doors, we have windows, we have roofs. And that's how we go ahead and work with roofs and so forth. So getting back to this, I'm just going to do a couple things just to show you some of the other basics right here. I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to click on this, and I want to change it so it's a little bit further over, so I can go ahead and grab it and just pull it if I want to. See, I can pull it, and it lets me do that. And I just go ahead and make it 5 feet away from the edge there, and take a look at it again in 3D, and we're looking good. So this is kind of a very basic structure. Like I said, I would never design something like this, but just to give an idea as far as how this works, we have this in place right there. Now, let's say that I'm working with a customer that said, "You know what, I need to have something different on those walls." Well, I'm going to click on one of these walls. And when I click on the walls, I can actually change it to a different type. So I'm going to change this to be something different. I'm just going to use exterior brick on CMU. Let me do that. And when I do that, well, hey, look at that. That looks pretty good. And you see that? I got a nice brick outline there. Huh, that's kind of nice. Guess what I can do? I can do it for the other walls too. I'm going to go here and change that. Now I'm just going to do these one at a time. I could do it differently, but I'm just doing it to be repetitious. I'm going to go there, and now I have this right there, and that's looking like something. And I could go ahead and rotate it around and go to this side, and I do the same thing. And I'm going to go ahead and make this exterior brick on CMU. So I have that. And then I'll do this one more time. I'm going to rotate it around to the back. And oh, by the way, to rotate it, haven't talked about that yet. So what I'm going to do is, as far as rotating, I'll go back and do that. Redo. Okay. So what I'm going to do right here is, as I go through here, you hold your shift key down, and then you hold down the wheel on your mouse. Go ahead and try that if you've already built something. Hold your shift key down and hold your wheel on your mouse down. You can actually go ahead and orbit it like I'm doing right there. Okay, so you have complete control over this, and that's what we can go ahead and do these things. So I'm going to go ahead and click on here, and once I've clicked on there, what I'm going to do then is going to change this predictably to the wall type that I just did, which is going to be exterior brick on CMU. So then I've got a brick building. That's kind of cool. And so at this point, I could do some other things, but for right now, that's it. Now you're going to notice up here at the upper left, there's a cube. And the cube actually can be used to kind of like orient myself. So I click the upper right corner right there. It allows me to see an isometric view, and that's very helpful. I can go ahead and click on this cube, and I can actually click on this. It's going to rotate it around and give me different views as I work through here. So we can go ahead and do that. I could also look at elevations by clicking on the sides right here. That's an elevation. And over here, I'm going to go ahead and rotate it here. And this is an elevation. And I can go ahead and do this. So this is how we're actually able to look at our structure. And that's how we'd actually go ahead and put that together. That's how that would actually be fashioned. So that's what we have going on right there. That is how we go ahead and make that work. And that is how we look around at our project. Okay, so going back to here, this 3D view, I can go ahead and pull it back to this kind of a thing. So those are some of the kind of basics. Now, I'm going to kind of just do a couple things here. I'm going to go back out here and I'm going to show you this. I'm going to do a new share. I'm going to go out to Blackboard, which is going to be right here. Can you guys see Blackboard right now?
Yep.
Okay, so what we're going to do out here in Blackboard, I want you guys to see something. I put some content out here for you guys. Out here on Revit Floor Plan 1, weeks 9 and 10. It's actually for week 8 too. We're going to go here. So I'm going to click on there. And I've got a few things here. I've got a quiz. Don't worry about the quiz for right now. We'll go over that next week. But I've got actually a Revit tutorial. I've got some practices right here. I got 54 pages of really mostly pictures about how to go through a particular exercise. And then I have the Revit files right here. Revit Modern Hotel Final, Revit Simple Building 1, and Revit Simple Building 2. So these are a couple things that we could work on as we go through this. So let me go ahead and show you what this looks like. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to download this. I'll go ahead and do this. And when I do this, it opens it up. And it may or may not do this for you, but this is where you would actually put in your username. You might have to do that because it's a longer document. So you got to do this. And I'm going to do this because this is opening and reviewing a project. So I don't know if I can do this or not because I think I forgot my password. Everything just automatically fills it in. Oh, see, will this work? Let's see. I forget what my most recent one was. Anyway, we'll go here and I'll just try this. Yeah, I didn't like it. Okay, try it one more time. Right. Yeah, I could have sworn I did this, but okay, I liked it. Okay, so now you'll see it's a 54-page PDF, and you can print this up right here. But what it's got is a step-by-step practice for you guys to go through here. Now, looks like this is yeah, okay, this is actually for 2017. So it's kind of going over this. It's going to let you kind of go through here and work through these views and kind of just go through it and show how this works. So this kind of gives you some basic information as far as how to work through this. And I'm just going to kind of scroll down here. This shows you how to go ahead and work on these different items right here. And we'll go ahead and scroll down here. And there's a few changes because this is a few years old, but it's pretty solid for the most part. And then you got some basic modification tools that you can actually use in here. And this shows you how to go ahead and make this work. So these are some things that you could actually go through. Okay, so that's something that is available to you. I made that, I prepared it for you. It's actually the same thing I teach my professional students. And this is something that's actually very useful. So that's something that I'll let you guys go ahead. And if that's something you want to work with, this is a great workout. I realize that very often many of you are not too fond of going through step-by-step books. That's at least been my experience with my students here. But scrolling down here, I've got this great exercise, and this would actually allow you to go ahead and do an exercise. And you can download the content. I've got it all there. So you print this up, and then you go through this step-by-step. That's for those who really want to learn Revit. I'm not making it mandatory. I'm not making that mandatory. You don't have to do that. But it's there. I just wanted you guys to know that I care. I gave you some content here to learn this, okay? Because I didn't assign a book, there's your book. That's actually what you could do to go ahead and go through this. So those that really want to learn Revit, you can do that. Now, here's the next thing. What we're going to do right now is tonight, I'm just going to stop right there because not everyone has Revit and I don't want to get too far ahead of you. So this is going to be your assignment for this next week. What I'm going to have you guys do is start a Revit project using Architectural Imperial. You're going to use Architectural Imperial. And I want you guys to draw a structure. Okay, just kind of freestyle. Do whatever you want to do. But I want it to have at least 4 walls. It doesn't have to be a rectangle like I did there. You can make it any size you want. You can do as many twists and turns as you want to. Put in some doors, put in some windows, put on a roof. Okay, do those basic elements. So if you need to go over through this exercise again, it's very basic, and you guys can go ahead and customize how big it is or how big it isn't. That's the assignment. That's what I'm going to put up there, and that's all we're going to do for right now. So that is going to be it for tonight as far as my instruction. The rest of it is going to be you guys working with Revit and getting it operating, because that's right now the biggest thing. So get Revit working and draw a basic residential house plan and you know, make it look something like I just did right there. And that's going to be using the exercise that we had right there. And that's going to be the lecture for tonight. That's as far as I'm going to take it. And I'm going to park the bus right here. So that's it for right now. I'm going to stop the recording. There's not going to be any more for that. And if I can do this, it'll let me do it. Yeah, over here. So I'm going to stop the recording.